is good, everyone? Happy Wednesday, and thank you so much for joining me, Mark Wallace, here at Weekday Wagers. So much to cover. What an incredible NHL Stanley Cup series we just witnessed. Congratulations to the Florida Panthers. I can't wait to break that down and to get into our watch list baseball game that we're targeting for today. You know I can't do this by myself. Got to bring in the guy who knows what he's talking about, Mr. Robbie Hockey. Robbie, how the hell are you?
I'm glad you said that. Please tell my wife that next time you talk to her. Doing good. You know, I wore black for a reason because hockey sadly ended yesterday. So into the dog days of summer, but that doesn't mean we didn't have any plays and a lot of analysis on the games today.
Yeah, and not to pat ourselves on the back, but you know what? Damn it, we're going to pat ourselves on the back. We finished the NHL Stanley Cup Series with our official plays at 10-2. I know we both won last night. What happens now? And very quickly, what happens to Florida especially? They've just won 2 Stanley Cups back-to-back. Can they keep this team together and make it a race for the third?
That's the question, is how can they keep them together? Can they afford to keep them together? Sam Bennett won himself a nice payday. Brad Marchand definitely got himself another payday. Guys like Seth Jones, who they acquire, I'm not sure what his numbers are, but I'm sure he may want to come back. A lot of it has to do with what Paul Maurice said last night, and it really kind of stuck home with me. The guys in that locker room can be themselves. There's no egos. There's nobody that has to be an enforcer or this or that. I think Evan Rodriguez said it was the first locker room he's been in where he felt comfortable, where he could just be himself. That goes a long way. And the fact that in March this team was dead to rights, you thought they're dead. They don't have anything. They were all just getting healthy. He didn't rush anyone back. He didn't care about finishing first or second. Just get me to the playoffs and we'll handle our business. So if they can pay him, I wouldn't bet against them running it back.
Now, the flip side of that coin is what's going to happen to Edmonton?
Edmonton has a lot of holes they need to fill. And they're still one of the best teams in the West. After watching that last night in the series as a whole, hindsight being 2020, I think I'd have rather seen maybe Colorado play Florida. I think they would have kept up with them a little better, but they have a lot of holes. They got to figure out that it can't just be Draisaitl and McDavid. They can't just carry the team anymore. Their third and fourth lines were a mess. Their goaltending was a mess. They have a lot of questions they need to answer this offseason.
Yeah, and I think that's what stood out for me most for this series is that Edmonton really relies on that two-headed monster of Draisaitl and McDavid, and after that, it falls off sharply, and credit to Florida. They figured out a way to slow that two-headed beast down enough to force the other players to try to beat them, and they just could not. So, again, congratulations to Florida. The end of a wonderful, wonderful, and very profitable hockey season, I might add. So, already gearing up and looking forward to next season. But we have baseball, and that means we have got a game that we are targeting today on our watch list, and we're going with the Minnesota Twins at the Cincinnati Reds. The Reds, favorites to win this one at -131. You got Bailey Obear and Nick Lodolo pitching on the mound, scheduled to pitch on the mound. Not a whole lot, and I'll ask you, Rob, anything about either one of these teams that jumps out to you? Because I'm looking at this sheet, and I'm like, okay, basically we got two. Cincinnati's the middle to upper middle of the echelon kind of baseball team. Minnesota, mid to lower mid echelon baseball team. Anything for you?
Yeah, I'm seeing red today, as in I like more of the Reds players than I do Minnesota. A lot of that has to do with the pitching matchup. Lodolo seems to be a lot better than Bailey. I call him Bailey overs because I always try to target hitters to get overs on props. So seeing a lot of the Reds more than I am Minnesota today. There are a couple of guys in Minnesota worth a look, but yeah, definitely more Cincinnati is where I'm leaning today than Minnesota.
Perfect. Well, you start talking about the overs, and if there's somebody in the chat who's looking at possibly targeting a team total or or an over, actually. Looking at these in the breakdown, when you look at what the Twins have done on the road versus left-handed pitching, I see a lot of red in that column, especially in that first 5. And if you can play it the first 3, that's a team, especially against the Reds, who have a lot of red for that first 5 line. This might be a great spot to target a team total or a first 5 under. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, you're getting bad weather tonight too. So I do have some picks for guys to go yard, and that's basically just based on their matchup with Ober. But the weather looks to be sketchy. Hopefully this game is played. But yeah, looking at all the red on the screen, unders might be the play. I hate unders, so I'm not personally playing it. But that is a great look if you are into playing unders.
No pressure, no diamonds, Robbie. Come on now. You know better than that. Flipping that.
There we go.
And if you start looking, see, you talk about Bailey Ober. You start looking at this and you see that Cincinnati at home has done fairly well scoring in the early innings, as well as for the game itself. They've hit the over in the first 5 and 5 of the last 10. The Twins, not really giving up a whole lot, although they've hit the over in 3 of their last 5 away games. When you look at this, would you be inclined to target like a Cincinnati team total?
Yes, I would rather go the Cincinnati route on this one. And there's 3 guys when I was doing my analysis this morning that it was hard to choose from. I actually have a play where I have all 3 of them together. But I think the Reds could be going over today, and as well as the win. I like them to win the game as well.
Okay. Joe just said Minnesota teams are no good. And Joe, we take your word for it. Actually, there's a couple of plays that I have on this game. I'm leaning with you, Robbie. I think that Cincinnati actually wins this one. And their price for tonight is ridiculously low. Yeah, that's Cincinnati to win is at -110. I love that look. And wouldn't even mind playing the first 5, especially with Bailey Ober throwing on the mound for Minnesota. I like the first 5 look as well. That's another angle to attack it. Let's look at a player props. And I want to start with Byron Buxton. I'm not going to call him Brian anymore, I promise. Byron Buxton. Here's what he's kind of done against left-handed pitching this season. Done fairly well as far as hits are concerned, batting .310 against left-handed pitching. Any thoughts, anything that you'd be looking at for Byron?
Yeah, Byron just went yard yesterday too on a left-handed pitcher. He has 3 home runs in his last 5 games against left-handed pitchers. That's definitely a look. Total bases, hits, runs, and RBIs aren't bad either. He's gone 6 of his last 10 and hits, runs, and RBIs. Total bases, he's gone 5 of 10. It's just he hasn't faced Lodolo, and looking at Lodolo's numbers, it would be hard for me to put anything on Byron. Lodolo is one of those guys kind of like Screwball, Skeens, guys that are really good. Those are usually I tend not to get batters against guys who actually have the numbers in front of them. I wouldn't bet Byron, but his numbers aren't bad as far as if you want to sprinkle a home run, he did get one yesterday.
And, to your point, Lodolo is a pitcher who uses such a very balanced mix of pitches. I'm looking at his types of pitches that he's been throwing this year. He's got a 4-seam fastball that he's thrown 28%, a sinker he's throwing 20%, a changeup 23%, and a curveball 28%. I mean, that is a pretty balanced attack to go at hitters. And if you can keep hitters that off balance, it does tilt that needle into the pitching favor.
Agreed. Guys that tend to throw fastballs tend to throw a lot more home runs as well. So I'm staying off of the Twins today. I think Byron Buxton would be an okay look for maybe a small home run prop. The only other guy I like on Minnesota is Brooks Lee. He comes into this game with a 15-game hit streak. So, I mean, if you were into hit parlays, he's definitely worth a look to put in a hit parlay.
Yeah, he has been absolutely, I believe it's a 15-game hit streak that he is riding right now. And that's one of he has been atop the player prop data sheets that we've been putting out on just statsports.com. That's how I know he's been absolutely killing it. Real quick, Bailey Ober, 4-seam fastball, 37% of the time, a sinker ball, 3%, a slider, 16%, a changeup, 30%, and a curveball for 4%. It really looks like I'm either going to try to blow it by you, or I'm either going to try to fake you out with a changeup and some off-speed type stuff. That really does kind of play into your narrative of lots of hits, lots of runs, lots of potential scoring opportunities.
Yeah, and one of the guys I'm looking at even on Cincinnati is TJ Friedel. And when you look at that pitch mix, the four-seam fastball, TJ is killing it. He has 2 home runs already off of that. The slider, he has 1 home run, and the curveball 2 home runs this season. He's actually in their matchup. He's gone yard on him at least once. Yeah, he's gone yard on him as well. So TJ Friedel is one that I'm looking at today. Ellie De La Cruz is another guy today that I wouldn't mind playing. He's been hot as of late. He kind of cooled off yesterday, but if you're into narratives, it's also a bobblehead night for Ellie De La Cruz. So for whatever reason, those players seem to go off when that narrative comes out.
And thank you to Kim, because she called that one as well. And we got a little more on Mr. De La Cruz coming up in just 1 second. Here is TJ's kind of spray chart, what he's done against right-handed pitching at home so far this season. And to your point, Rob, he's batting .240, got a home run, but he's making solid contact. And I think that's what's important here. What in my takeaway when I'm looking at this is a great situational matchup for him. You get a guy who's throwing fastball, changeup. If you can sit on 2 pitches, that really does tilt that balance into your favor.
Yeah, and TJ has 4 home runs in his last 10 games as well. So he's not gone cold. He's not on any kind of cold streak. The last home run he had was against Detroit on June 13th. He had another one in Cleveland on June the 11th. So I like that factor. And like we were going over his pitches, I really like those. A lot of the things like the changeup, he gets a lot of field outs, doubles, singles. So, I mean, the opportunity's there. And like you said, he's a hard hitter. So as long as the weather kind of cooperates for us, I'd really like him to go yard tonight as well.
I like that. I like it. And speaking of Mr. De La Cruz, he has been absolutely Cincinnati's offensive output. What has he been? Let's see. I just had it here. He has got a 369 expected WOBA, weighted on base average. He's got a slugging percentage of .519. He has been the offense for the Reds this season. When you look at his spray chart against right-handed pitching, he's a great look as a potential home run. What do you think?
I do. Now, for me, and this is no knock on Ellie, but I call him Selly De La Cruz because anytime I bet him to home run, he usually sells for me. But I still think it's a great spot tonight. And like I said, he had 4 home runs in his last 5 games. That streak got broke yesterday. But he had 4 straight games with a home run. And he's a switch hitter, but he favors right-handed pitchers more than left-handed pitchers. So I love that matchup today as well. He's only faced over 3 times, and he hasn't gotten a hit or anything, but 3 times doesn't mean much to me. I think it was a fly out and a ground out were 2 of the hits that he did have against him.
I love De La Cruz tonight. I like him for a home run play. His hits, runs, RBI is always a good play here, especially against Bailey. A very hittable. Look, if you're going to give Ellie De La Cruz an option between a fastball and changeup, and all he has to do is guess 50-50 on which one's coming his way, De La Cruz is going to win that battle just about every single time. If there is a game that you guys in the chat are interested in us breaking down, or maybe, a upcoming game, which would be great because we really have time to dive into that for you. But if there's a game that you're interested in breaking down, throw it in the chat. We'd love to look it up and give you our thoughts on it. And Joe, I hear you, bud. I hope so. At some point, they've kind of got to. But right now, as Tommy C brought up on the morning show, we are in the June swoon of Aaron Boone. And so I don't know. It might be until July before we see a Yankees run again. And yes, Rob, you brought this up earlier. Weather is a concern here. And from what I have seen, from a weather standpoint, it looks like the majority of the hard stuff is going to miss, although they're going to have some pretty, there's going to be some wet weather. Whether they choose to play through that and start the game on time or kind of wait and maybe get a later start is yet to be seen. But that is certainly something to always consider when you're looking at that. Stay on top of that before you start placing any of the wagers.
No doubt.
So we have that. I got to ask you, what are you on today?
So I know you said wait before you place any of your wagers, but I've already put in TJ Friedel, 2+ hits, runs, and RBIs at -115. He's gone over in 7 of his last 10 games. He's, of course, facing Bailey overs, as I like to call him. Bailey isn't a known strikeout either. He doesn't strike out a lot. He's only averaging 3.3 Ks in his last 6 games, and he's allowing 8 home runs in that span as well. TJ is batting .500 with 3 hits, 2 singles, and a home run in his last 6 at bats versus over. So I love this matchup. You got a righty versus lefty. Give me TJ Friedel, 2 hits, runs, and RBIs at -115.
Love that look. Really love that look. And Dan, how you doing, buddy? Glad you're here. If Dan and everybody in the chat, go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button for us. That would help us so much. Please, please, please. Go ahead and do that. I am switching. I'm not sticking on the diamond tonight. We've got one W game being played. And I am going to the Connecticut Suns, where I'm taking Tina Charles to get over 21.5 points and rebounds. It's at -130. A little juicy, but absolutely understandable when you consider that it's priced where it should be, I should say. That's what I should say. It's priced where it should be, and for good reason. She's gone over this in 4 of her last 5 games, where she's logged 23, 26, 25, and 24. She's only had one slight dip in the last 5, where she had an 11-point performance on the road at New York against the league leading Liberty. Okay, I get that. Outside of that, she's been rolling. Where I am absolutely falling in love with this play is she has cleared this in every single home game that she's played this season. 5 of 5 going over at home, where she's averaging almost 28 points and rebounds. She literally could get to this line just on a points standpoint. I love the rebounds as a cushion here. I love this. She's getting minutes, plenty of minutes, all up in the higher 20s. It's a strong play at -130. I love that the trend and the model supports this one. And I do have to make it up to our friend Nonsense McGee, who put in that WNBA huge kind of wish list parlay yesterday, and we missed it by 1 leg. So here's my makeup play to you, Nonsense. Let's get him tonight. It is time. That time in the show everybody loves. It's the Daily Dinger time. We got Aaron Judge, Mr. L.A. De La Cruz, Ronald Acuna, Yanner Diaz, and Reese Hoskins. Right, not Rice, right? Did I say it?
Right, you're right. Reese
Hoskins.
Yeah, Reese Hoskins.
Who do you like, Rob? Who do you like and why?
Well, on that list, I would probably favor Reese over the others. But, I've been with DG too much. I'm going once again off the board. Give me Marcelo Mayer. He plays for the Boston Red Sox. That game starts at 3:10, so still plenty of time to get that in at +700 to go yard. But Mayer's gone yard 3 times in his last 6 games versus right-handed pitchers, and he goes yard the most on Wednesdays. He has 2 home runs so far on Wednesdays this season. It's a trend I like to target because it works. I don't know what it is. Luis Castillo's given up 5 home runs in his last 2 starts. Also, a little nugget for you. Luis has given up the most home runs to the 5th spot. So he's allowed the most home runs to whoever's batting 5th. And Mayer is batting 5th. So after Boston got embarrassed yesterday, Devers is gone. I like to see the young gun come out and get a dinger today at +700.
Look, I just have to say this right now. If the last 35 seconds didn't convince you that Robbie knows what the hell he's talking about, and dude, I live in data. I don't even know where you pulled that data out of your rear end on this one. What the heck? My mind is blown. My jaw dropped. I'm like that proud parent who sees a little kid do really well, and you're like, oh yes, you just nailed it, dude. That was impressive. Well done. You know what? I'm going to go Yanner Diaz because he's the only guy that's got a home run history on this list against the pitchers that he's facing. I don't have the kind of stats that Robbie just threw at you. I'm going Yanner Diaz, and that's it.
Hey, if it cashes, nobody cares, do they, Mark?
No, they don't. And I know we had a couple of – so Kim says she's going L.A. De La Cruz on Bobblehead Night. It's always a great narrative. I learned that one from you, Rob, as well.
Yep.
And let's see, who else do we have in here? I know we had DG. Alec Burleson.
I do have to mention, DG picked James Wood yesterday, and James Wood saw a fastball come straight down the middle, and he didn't even swing at it. He just let it go. We call that the DG effect. Well, no matter who he's targeting for a dinger.
Yeah. So, and apparently you have some synergy with north of the border here. TJ are good at everything. I don't know about everything, TJ, but we're banking on TJ Friedel tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, we got another one. I'm going Byron Buxton. So you're going with Brian Buxton, huh, Joe?
Brian,
that's a great call.
Byron.
Brian, he'll always be Brian to me from now on.
Yeah, he'll always just be,
always. Well, listen, that is going to do it for us. Thank you guys so much for joining us here on this Wednesday version of Weekday Wagers. Tomorrow, 2:00 Eastern, same bat time, same bat channel. You're going to catch DG and Robbie breaking down everything that happened tonight. Don't know what that was. And going over their best bets for tomorrow. Probably a little TV timeout, right? Is that on schedule for Thursday?
Oh, yeah.
And be breaking down another game. I do see we have another one that just got put in.
He has a good history. I remember looking at him this morning. I think he has a home run on who he's facing tonight. I'm blinking right now, but it's not a bad look either.
Producer man coming in with the Ramirez.
All right. Yeah, some synergy there.
And Joe, I will be doing a live show from Vegas next week. You can find it in the programming schedule. I believe the show's called Thunder from Down Under. So it'll be, yeah. Anyway, on that note, thank you guys so much for joining us. We will see you tomorrow right here at 2:00 Eastern with DG and Rob. Until then, take care of yourself. Be kind to one another. And let's cash these tickets, shall we?